Keep moving. It's very important for your health, for your physical health, because we're very fortunate. We can travel without any problems, but there's a lot of other people who have to move because they need to feed their family. They need to find peace in another country, so they keep moving until they find a refuge. And you have also a third group of people who really have to move and kill. We call the soldier. So don't stay home. Do not trust this picture. Do not stay home and read your ex-girlfriend's email. Just move on. Keep moving. And also, don't make baby. There's plenty out there. You can buy books, travel books. And also, yes, there's too many baby and too many birds. And once in a while, you need to rest. So I think traveling is something really exciting because you really develop a taste for new food, for new friends, discover a lot more museum as well. And you have to find a companion. I think somebody who has the same amount of pleasure and passion about traveling the world. The world is such a great place. And if you don't find a companion, then just travel by yourself. And if you don't find a companion, then just take two. So also something that's very important, it's your health. Try to quit smoking. I know it's not easy. Also try to stop eating meat and dairy product. And try vegans, just maybe for 1 month or 2 months. I've completely transformed my body and my health. So I'm going to take you around the world with my beautiful wife, who happened to be sitting here. And I will start with Antarctica. You don't have to rush next week. I think the ice will not melt overnight. And it's just such a magical place. They have beautiful animals. The penguin comes and check you out. And it's also one of the world's largest museums of ice sculpture. We just came back from Vietnam. I was very guilty about what we did to this country. And we discovered a really wonderful human being, calm, just gentle. There's also great food, great mountains, great hiking, beautiful children, even having their haircuts on the outdoor barber, and some really great landscape. So Vietnam is really in your list of place to go. They also have a city of death. I've never seen this before. I've traveled in so many places. So what happened after the war, a lot of people have emigrated in the United States, and were starting to save money in order to build tombs for their loved ones who have died. And the city of death is just immense. It's just a very particular place on earth. Also, I've been in Tanzania, going in Tanzania in the Ngorongoro crater to visit the Maasai, climb Kilimanjaro, went to Turkey to Ermuda. Also Nepal was my first trip with my wife. China. China is also a very unusual place. I was there in '87. Shanghai didn't have any sewer. And yes, there's a lot of bicycle at the time. When you go to a faraway country, make sure you leave enough room so when you arrive in that particular photo, the Great Wall of China was covered with fog, and you see all those buses arriving, and most of the people completely missed the place. United States have great places as well. This is Monument Valley. And when you travel, you might have some people asking for money or begging. So give them a little bit of money. Give children's pencil. Don't give them candy. This is in Yemen on a fish market. Spain. This is Cuba. This is India. Also a great place for vegetarian. By the way, don't insist when people don't want their photo taken. Just respect their culture or their positions. Jen and I, we crossed the Himalaya in Kashmir. Hawaii is a great place who likes to surf. Switzerland have great spa. If you're desperate to shop at Prada, you can go to Marfa in Texas. Also, there's a great museum of Donald Judd in Marfa that's really worth the trip. Ronchamp, Le Corbusier's beautiful church. Make sure to read your schedule because you might be the only one at the lecture. Death Valley, Zabriskie Point. Zabriskie Point was also the site of the movie of Antonioni. And these photographs were taken past midnight with the moonlight. And naturally, Quito. I love Quito. Jane loves Quito. We love all the roses, plantations, beautiful people, great food. This woman is transporting food for the Carlotta Hotel. I love typography. I was fascinated by this picture. Settimana Santa. We were blessed with an extraordinary guide for 3 weeks in the mountains last year. And this is one of my favorite food, potato soup. Great bread. It was hard to look at the ice cream. And if you run out of transportations, you can always rent a horse. And you can have the Pope blessing your trip, if you're lucky. And naturally, if there's a lot of bird, there's a lot of animals in the Galapagos, which is extremely beautiful. And if you run out of space in a hotel because they forget your reservations, this is an alternative. It might be a good experience to see how the rest of the world sometimes live. I need a caption here because I'm not sure what the hell's going on. Rio is a great place. Also, great people, friendly people, great food, great hiking trip. One of my two favorite characters. Iguazu, one of the largest waterfall. And if you want to increase your sexual educations, I highly recommend Napoli. They have a great museum of the Roman fresco from Pompeii. This is Inochin. It's a national park with a beautiful park. Has just amazing, amazing outdoor sculpture. Jane was able to rest and cool off her feet in one of the sculptures. Detroit. There's a great museum in Detroit. It's also a city that lost over 1 million people in the last 20 years. The industry have completely changed. I fell in love with the Holiday Inn sign. I was always one in one of my room. Museum in Switzerland. And if you're thirsty, it's a museum. I provide some water. So Left Behind, it's one of the very interesting projects, and I was involved with Jane. I met a wonderful Mexican woman who introduced me to what happened from Tucson, where I live, in the winter, and the Mexican border. So she said there's almost between 100 and 200 people died in that small corridor. They have the American dream in mind. They're not coming only from Mexico. They're really coming from all over the world. They find dead body from Nepal. So there's an organization she introduced me to. It's called the Samaritans. So what the Samaritans do, they take you out and you bring water and food to some of the camps. We know where the trails are. So I decided to this is pretty much the region. You see Tucson somewhere in the middle. And from the Mexican border, this is what they find all the dead body. So I decided to record all the objects they left behind. A lot of mothers risk their life with their children as well. So I think every picture can have a story attached to. I mean, even kids wear USA socks. I think it's just quite amazing. They want to learn English rapidly. And also beautiful letter of children who tell their parents, look, please be safe, we love you. So this is a quick statistic about how many people died in World War I. World War II, 85 million. A lot of civilians. Vietnam War, the Vietnamese called it the American War. And if you put the grand totals of just 4 wars, it's 109 million people who died. It's about 2,000 times the size of my hometown in Switzerland. And this is some of the pictures that they really deal a great deal in my mind. It's from the museum of the War Museum in Saigon. And Andy Adams made this picture that really horrified me. And BBC record the same scene. It's a police just executing on the spot a Viet Cong. This is also a picture having an enormous impact of the Americans during the Vietnam War. This photo was published, and it really helped to be more aware about how the war in Vietnam was really atrocious. When you just think about it, they dropped more bombs in Vietnam than the entire time in World War II. So in 2000, I went to a little school that was selling their furniture, and I find Sam. They called Sam, I have no idea, that was in the locker room. And I took it home, looked at it for 7 years. The economy drops in 27. And I decided to do some iconic image about what exactly happened during the war. And this is my first image, made out of human bone. And when I put all the pieces together one by one, on the floor, I lift the template, and I had a chill in my spine. So I decided to continue to do the image with all the famous iconic images, such as tank, jet fighter, atomic bombs. And when I was in my knee, I decided I might as well do an alphabet. So I spent about 6 months on my knee. make love, not war. Thank you.